Imagine waking up one morning and realizing your boyfriend isn't just rich. He isn't just a billionaire. He's officially the world's first trillionaire. $1,000 billion, more wealth than entire nations. At first, it felt like I'd won the lottery of life. Private jets, private islands, access to places nobody else could go, a future nobody else could see. But what nobody tells you about dating a trillionaire is that eventually the money stops being the scary part. Because when someone becomes that powerful, they stop living in the same reality as everyone else, including you. And the moment I realized that, I seriously considered walking away. This is my life dating Elon Musk after he became the world's first trillionaire. And trust me, this isn't just a story about money. It's about obsession, power, isolation, and what happens when the person you love starts feeling less like a human being and more like a force of nature. People think dating a trillionaire changes your lifestyle. What it actually changes is your reality. When Elon asked me out, I expected something absurd. Dinner in orbit, a floating restaurant above the ocean, maybe an entire island rented for one night. Instead, I got a text. Want to see something cool? A few hours later, I was standing inside a rocket factory. Steel towers, machines that looked like they belonged decades in the future. For hours he talked about Mars. Not luxury, not fame, not money. Mars. Most people dream about bigger houses. Elon dreamed about moving civilization off Earth. And that should have been my first warning sign. Because I wasn't dating a man with a mission. I was dating the mission itself. And I would spend years competing with something I could never beat. A few months later, it happened. Elon became the world's first trillionaire. The planet reacted instantly. News cycles exploded. Markets shifted. The internet couldn't stop talking about it. But his life didn't change. Not even slightly. He still worked constantly. Still slept less than everyone I knew. Still moved between rockets, AI, robotics, energy, and problems most people couldn't even understand. One night, I finally asked him, "If you have $1 trillion, why keep going?" He looked at me like the question didn't make sense, like I was missing something obvious. Then he said, "Because we're running out of time." And that was it. No explanation, no emotion, just certainty. And that was the moment I started to feel uneasy. But that wasn't the moment that scared me most. That came later. The strangest part of dating Elon wasn't the money. It was realizing he was never fully there. We could be sitting at dinner overlooking an entire city. And then he'd go silent. Not because something was wrong, but because something somewhere else had just become more important. Mars. AI. A problem nobody else in the room even knew existed. At first I admired it. Then I started to resent it. Because eventually I realized something painful. The future always got the best version of him. And I only got what was left of the present. It's hard to compete with another person. It's impossible to compete with the future of humanity. And that was the moment I realized I couldn't catch up. Everyone thinks dating the world's first trillionaire would mean freedom. The truth? I've never felt more trapped. Because when you're with Elon Musk, you don't just have a relationship. You have an audience. Millions of people watching, waiting, judging, turning your life into content. At first it was small, photos, clips, headlines. Then it grew. Every smile became a theory. Every silence became a rumor. Every moment became evidence for a story I never agreed to be part of. And the worst part? Most people weren't reacting to me. They were reacting to a version of me they invented. A character, a symbol, an idea. I made the mistake of reading the comments one night. Thousands of strangers discussing my life like they knew me, my intentions, my personality, my future. Some loved me, some hated me. None of them were right, and somehow that made it worse. So I stopped reading. Then I stopped searching. Then I stopped caring what anyone thought. But it was already too late, because something inside me had changed. I became careful, then cautious, then guarded. Until one day I realized something terrifying. I was rehearsing normal conversations before they happened. Not because I wanted to, but because I was afraid of being seen wrong. The world wasn't just watching me anymore. I had started watching myself. And once that happens, you don't feel free anymore. One night, I found Elon awake long after midnight. No cameras, no audience, Just him and a screen full of simulations, plans, and futures. I asked him, if you could keep all your money, or guarantee humanity becomes a spacefaring civilization, which would you choose? He didn't hesitate. The civilization. Instantly. No emotion. No calculation. Just certainty. And suddenly everything clicked. The obsession. The sacrifice. The endless work. The way nothing ever felt finished. The money was never the goal. It was just the fuel. So what did I learn from dating the world's first trillionaire? That the darkest part wasn't the wealth. It wasn't the fame. It wasn't even the pressure. It was realizing that some people don't fully belong to themselves anymore. They belong to the mission. And the closer I got to Elon, the more I understood something I'll never forget. The world sees a trillionaire, a genius, a billionaire, a headline. But I saw something else. A man living in a future that hasn't happened yet. And trying to drag the rest of us there with him. Maybe that's what makes him extraordinary. Or maybe that's what makes him unreachable. Either way. I stopped asking what it feels like to date the world's first trillionaire. Because the real question was never about him. It was about whether anyone could survive standing that close to the future.